Yeah, you'll be inspired when this show transpires. New episode is today. The overwhelmed brain, and you want self-help, and I want to help right now. And you'll say the overwhelmed brain. Tell you why this show will help you reflect. Tell you why more than you'll ever expect. Tell you why I wanna see you grow and thrive. Show self-identified. Tell me why this intro goes for so long. Tell me why I chose this over other songs. Tell me why you haven't skipped this part today, 'cause this song's quite overplayed. Tell you why. Rising higher than mainstream thinking. Are you annoyed by affirmations? When someone tells you to think positively, do you say, "Wow, thanks a lot. Hey, I'm listening, but I need to be in here until you leave. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go on." If affirmations feel like lies and positive thinking feels like denial, then start the journey of incredible learning and growth so that you can create the life you've always wanted now. Hello, this is Paul Coliani, host of The Overwhelmed Brain, the personal growth show for the critical thinker. On this show, I discuss practical, down-to-earth steps to help you improve your mood, your sanity, and your life. We'll talk about why we do the things we do and what we can do to reach higher levels of happiness and lower levels of stress and overwhelm. My goal is to help you become empowered so that you can create the life you want. And once again, I need to stress the importance of not only emotional and mental empowerment, but also physical empowerment. I want you to have more energy, feel stronger, get healthier, and maybe even lose a few of those extra pounds for the summer. So take a listen to Jay Scott at fulldisclosurefitness.com. Solid info and very entertaining and educational interviews with the nation's leading fitness experts. If you want a free report that shows you how to calculate your calories so that you can start losing that fat today, head over to fulldisclosurefitness.com and get on the fast track to a fit body now. It's where I turn for my physical fitness needs, and I think you'll like them too. And as a reminder, whenever you hear me talk about someone's product, service, or in this case show, know that I have personally checked into their credibility and the value they provide. All right, today's quick quote is from Pietro Aretino. I think I said that right. And it's this: "I love you. And because I love you, I would sooner have you hate me for telling you the truth than adore me for telling you lies." Well, today we have another coaching call with Michael and Daria. If you haven't been listening to the coaching episodes, Michael and Daria are a couple I coach almost regularly for the relationship issues that they run into. In every session I've had with them, there was something new that they learned and have applied to their lives. And just talking with them recently, things seem to be going a lot better with them. However, they still have issues that come up that cause problems, so they reach out to me and request another session. However, Michael and Daria do something I consider very courageous and at the same time healing. They choose to be vulnerable to the world. They're vulnerable in the sense that they speak honestly about their problems, no matter who's listening. In fact, Michael recently told me his father and mother started listening to these calls, which of course made him feel a little uncomfortable. After all, when you're talking about how those who raised you had a big hand in the problems you're having today, it will spark some curiosity from those people. But this is actually part of the healing. It's hard, but it's a huge part of healing or processing any unresolved negativity that might be floating around inside of you. Any emotional trigger you have or anything that upsets you today started sometime in the past. This is why I always say that what angers or upsets you in the moment originated a long time ago. What triggers you today? I recently had a trigger pop up that showed that I was still a little fearful of someone in my life doing something that reminded me of what I went through as a child. For the longest time, and I'm talking decades, if someone I loved drank too much, I would swallow fear and anger. And then after I had a small breakdown a few years ago, I realized that it's not those people that need to change and accommodate my desire to control their behavior. It's me that needs to change. The most important step you can take towards a healthier relationship is to always redirect the focus back onto yourself, at least when you're upset with the other person. What I mean by that is when the person you love, whether romantically or otherwise, upsets you in any way, don't direct your anger or upset back at them because it will lead to an argument or even violence and abuse. What I recommend you do is realize that you are upset because of something in you, not them. They might trigger your upset, but they are not the cause for the feelings coming up in you. Here's an example. When I was married, I would be judgmental and blaming towards my wife whenever she reached for sweets. I had it stuck in my head that her sugar and food challenges were the result of her not wanting to change her behavior. And I'm sure deeper down inside of me, I felt that by her doing something that she knew I didn't appreciate, that she must not love me enough. This is highly dysfunctional behavior. I can look back at who I was and how I was behaving and realize that all my upset was directed at her. And no matter how much she improved, I'm sure she always felt like she was under my watchful eye. Well, when she moved out, I got to experience what life was like without the influence of anyone else around me, good or bad. Because she was gone, I had no one to direct that upset to. So suddenly I was struck with the realization that even though she wasn't there, I still had this upset, this anger and fear inside of me. What was that anger and fear? It was an old pattern I learned when I was growing up. I saw people I loved, family members, doing drugs and drinking and losing control. This led to me being hypercritical of those closest to me growing up. And whenever I got into a relationship, I micromanaged my partner whenever they would do something that I wasn't comfortable with. You know what it's like to be micromanaged? Having someone watch your every move and comment on things or give you that look of disapproval or disappointment. It's like even when you're doing everything they want you to do, the micromanager is still waiting for you to mess up so they can comment on it or say something passively to make you feel bad. That's how I was. I know, I was hard to live with, and I make it sound all bad, but I think for the most part, I was a great partner. But when I got triggered, I was terrible. I was focused on them being the problem for my trigger. Which brings me back to the fact that we are responsible for our triggers, not them. When someone does something that upsets you, you can certainly share with them that you're upset about their behavior, but don't expect them to change their behavior for you. They need to want to change their behavior for themselves. What I ended up doing after my wife left was dig into why I got so upset when she ate junk food. Seriously, why did it bother me so much when she was the one battling with the addiction? I explored that. One of the reasons was that I didn't want her to gain weight. I was like, well, of course I don't want her to gain weight. After all, I want to stay attracted to her. But my logic had flaws because physical attraction is only one component of overall attraction. What I ignored was all the support she showed me, doing the best she could to love me, even when I was busy being critical towards her. I was blind to the bigger picture and chose to view her behavior as something that would make my life difficult. It was selfish, and I certainly lost sight of what was really happening all along. She was struggling, and I was adding to that struggle by judging behavior that she had extreme difficulty controlling. When the one you love is struggling, you do what you can to help if they want it. But if you choose to only see the situation from your perspective, you will isolate that person. They will feel alone, unloved, unsupported, and maybe even guilty because maybe you're one of the few people, if not the only person they look to for love, support, and even guidance. And when that person, the one they want to turn to for support, is criticizing and disappointed in their behavior, they will feel like there's nowhere else to turn. And they may even start to feel defeated, leading to an eventual unhappiness and even depression. At least that's what happened to me. The one person my wife should be able to trust more than anything in the world was critical and judgmental, and now even commenting on how he will lose attraction to her if she gains weight. Her struggle was real and it was hard, and now she had to go it alone. I didn't even know I was doing this until I had lots of alone time to reflect. Now, this doesn't mean that you should always love and support and stick around for every situation that comes up with your relationships. After all, if it's toxic, you must get help or get out as soon as possible. Most toxic relationships, the ones that poison your soul, shouldn't exist. It's hard to be loving and supportive to an abuser, hoping he or she will change with you trying to help them along the way. It's hard to be loving and supportive to a drug or alcohol addict who is putting you and your family in danger. There are relationships that just aren't meant to be, at least in the moment. But how do you know when it's time to leave a situation like this? You ask yourself two questions. First one is, honestly, will this situation change in the near future? And the next one is, when I think about being with this person for the rest of my life, am I happy about that decision? If you do believe it will change soon, and I'm talking in just a few weeks, and you're happy about being with this person for the rest of your life, or at least will be happy for a long time to come, then consider waiting. But if you do wait, mark a date on your calendar where you say, if things don't change by this date, I'm going to change things, whether that means leaving or seeking help or what have you. And stick to it. This really all comes down to honoring your personal boundaries. If I had chosen to honor my personal boundaries from the beginning of my relationship with my wife, I would have left. I may still have been dysfunctional and judgmental, but I would have honored what I wanted and didn't want and gotten out of the relationship. Because I stayed, I gained many valuable and lifelong lessons. I loved that I got to experience it, and it led me to where I am today, a healthier me, making healthier decisions for myself. Healthy decisions are those decisions that empower you and fulfill you, not bring you down and trigger you. My marriage taught me to focus on me when others trigger me. My ex-wife taught me to love and support, not judge and criticize. And the biggest lesson from all of this was that if I can't love and support the people in my life, no matter how hard I try, then I need to honor my personal boundaries and only allow what I want into my life, not what I don't want. That means if my girlfriend started taking drugs out of the blue, I may do what I can to help, or I may just leave because I don't want drugs in my life. And since she is in my life, then drugs would be in my life too. It almost sounds cold, like it's an abandonment, but really, it's a love for myself and what's healthy for me. You can love and support the other person and do whatever you can to help them, but if there's no sign of them changing, or you simply don't want what's happening with them in your life, then the decision needs to be about yourself, honoring what you really want for you. By honoring you, you take care of yourself, which gives them a chance to take care of their problems until they're ready for a relationship again. That may or may never happen, but at least you are taking care of you and or your family, which is high on the list. Every situation will be different, of course. Sometimes we want to support someone and get them help, and we'll sacrifice our own needs to help them crawl out of the hole they may feel like they're in. Of course, this can and will happen. I'm really just talking about the relationships that just don't get better, they get worse. So many people stay in relationships that maybe should have ended a while back. Either one or both people may simply not have the skills or the resources to take care of themselves. So toxic environments are formed. Once these environments exist, it's hard to return to any type of, quote, normal circumstances. If you're getting triggered in your relationship, is it getting worse or better? Ask if you think what triggers you will end anytime soon, or if you think it is something that may go on indefinitely. And if it will go on, and you will be unhappy as long as it does go on, it's time to honor your boundaries and detoxify your system so that you can move on. My ex-wife moved on because I was toxic. It was the right decision for her. It was painful, but it was necessary. We both got to free ourselves from my judgment. With Michael and Daria, you're only hearing the times when they're in heated discussion and seem to be completely incompatible with one another. But remember that this is only a tiny percentage of who they are. Sometimes you have to be open and even a little blunt to get your honesty out on the table. In this coaching, I let them do just that. It may seem sometimes like I'm letting them go too far, but when that happens, I'm listening and learning how they communicate. That is one of the most important keys to relationship success. Learning how your partner or friend communicates. You learn by listening and trying to understand and even relaying what they say back to them. In this session, I help them learn to understand each other at a deeper level, knowing that once they connect from that place, they'll learn to love from that place as well. The things we say are surface and attempted expressions of deeper emotions that are going on inside of us. But the words aren't always the full story. So it's important to dig and figure out the deeper expressions, the ones that really want and need to come up so that they can be expressed. Again, you don't have to be in a romantic relationship to learn from today's show, because relating to people is something we all do in some way every day. There's something here for everyone. So let's dive into the session now. Uh-oh. I see blankets on the couch. Is one of you sleeping on the couch?
No.
So what's going on? First of all, good to see you guys.
I mean, there's a lot going on. We just had a disagreement, so I think it's good timing.
What'd you disagree on? Clothes shopping?
I mean, there's stuff going on, personally in my life, but I do want to take this opportunity because, like, you're really good at working with the both of us. So maybe the two are tied together. But I feel like she wants things her way. I feel like wants things revolved around her, but she's getting better. But still, like, it's really important to her to have things her way, and I get excluded in that mix.
Mm-hmm. Give me an example.
I'm getting better at voicing without emotion, because that's something that I learned from my mom. And just like as we're shopping, I was like, "We got to make the session. It's like, no, I got to get my boots. We're doing the shopping for you, and I'm helping you. You can't just because we didn't manage our time, then the stuff that I think is important is pushed to the side." And I was really good at saying, no, we gotta go to this. We can't reschedule. But a big thing is, what we just disagreed on was, she has told me, like, traveling is really important to her, and she wants to live in San Francisco for a year or two. And to me, I'm recently realizing that this is an example of her placing her needs above the relationship.
So you haven't left anywhere yet. You haven't gone anywhere yet. So the physical act of leaving, I mean, when you place your needs above it, then you pack your bags and you leave. So that might be kind of jumping ahead. Now she might be wanting it now and expressing it now, and maybe telling you a lot of the time, this is what I want to do. And now, is that what's happening?
Yeah. I mean, to me, she told me, like, it's something that is important to me. It's her soul's purpose. But she told me, I'm going to do it. and yeah.
Now,
and I understand it's really, far away because she's not, ready yet financially. So
here's the tough question, Michael. Have you ever asked her? This might be a tough one for you.
Another one.
Have you ever asked her, how can I support you in that endeavor?
But I feel like I do. Like, she loves traveling, and every weekend we go on some type of trip. We've been to many places, and our anniversary is coming up, and I thinking about driving to Phoenix. So I always make it include it, into our activities. But just being away, and then it's just especially recently, I discovered that it's a really great opportunity to carry on my father's the family business. It's a great way for me to grow, and it's a great foundation.
What's a great way to grow? I mean, to carry on. I missed a part there.
Because my father has a pharmacy, and then he's like 68, and it's.
Oh, you're saying to stay is a great way to grow? Is that what you're saying?
To further the business even after he retires.
Right, but what does that have to do with her wanting to go to San Francisco? I missed a part there, that's all.
Because if I were to support her, then I would go with her, find a way to get a job over there.
So there's so her goal, and I'll ask her in a second. Her goal is to go there and live there, whether you follow or not.
Yeah.
Is that true, Daria?
No, I mean, I just take it easy. But I mean, right now I have I actually found, since we last talked, I found a temporary job in LA. I don't know whether it will be for 1 month or for 3 months, but it's temporary. And so for now, I'm not even applying to any jobs in San Francisco. But eventually, I don't know whether it will be maybe in spring or in summer, I may want to, or maybe it will be in a year or two. I may want to apply to a couple of jobs in San Francisco. Maybe New York City, but probably San Francisco because it's closer to here. But right now I'm not even applying. But eventually, I kind of do want to try going there. But I don't know if I will live there. I mean, it would be nice, but I do want to apply sometime in the future, probably. I don't know if it will be in a couple of years or maybe in summer. I don't know.
Well, so far.
But I never tell Michael this is I'm going to leave, and then I have told him, Michael, you don't need to be scared. But so far I'm here. So far I'm not even applying.
So far I hear one person has aspirations to do
Make
one
louder.
thing.
Yeah.
The other person has aspirations to do his thing. And Michael, is your concern that
I'll shut the door.
Somewhere in the future that your vision for what you want is not going to be compatible with what she wants?
That's a related concern. But it's more of an example. It's not all about San Francisco, all about me working in the pharmacy, but it's just an example of it's about what she wants. It's really important to get what she wants. And we went to these hot springs, and it was really late, and the park ranger said we shouldn't go or else our safety and we might die. And then I told her we can't go, and then she we're on our way leaving, and there's this group of people that just drove 5 hours. They're no, we're just going to go anyways. And she's come on, let's go with them. And I said, no. And then she just went into complete hysteria. And that's just it's complete hysteria. I don't even want to tell you the details. And it's really important to get what she wants. It's everything that's revolved. I can share you with many examples. I'm just out of breath because I just ran to fix the internet. And I'm just rushing, Daria, come on, let's finish shopping. Gotta get
so
no, I gotta get my boots. And then no, after the session, I gotta go grocery shopping. You gotta come with me. And it's and I'm getting really good at voicing what I want in a calm manner, and instead of being emotional about it.
Yeah.
And it has really helped.
So Daria, I gotta ask you, So, for example, you're out and about. He wants to go, or he feels like it's time to go, or whatever. You have a disagreement. You want to do one thing, he wants to do another thing. What goes on in your head when you want to do this other thing? For example, going with those other people when it was, quote, dangerous to stay. What's going on in your head there?
Okay, so I guess it depends on the situation. So that hike, so then I was really upset. I was really upset, and the reason was because like that was actually like a week or two before I found this job, and I would be at home a lot. And I like Monday to Friday, Michael works, but then I would do freelance translations. Most of the time, I would just be like at home, and I'm bored. And I would always look forward to weekends when Michael doesn't work, when we can go to trips together. And that particular trip, I was so excited, and we actually drove like 2 hours or more there. And then we come there, and it's like, and it took us because we always take such a long time to get ready for things. So it took us a long time to get ready. That's why we were late. And then we come there, and it's like, we can't go. Mm-hmm. And then I want to go. And then on the way back, I was so upset. And I started telling him, like, Michael, I sit Monday to Friday at home while you work. I basically like don't do anything because I wait for you. So for the weekend, like that's for me the opportunity to go together with you. And I was crying, and I was so upset. So, and then Michael, he even went back and tried talking to that woman. Can we go? But then she said it's really dangerous. So we ended up not going. So on one hand,
you could die.
She said you could die. And we did eventually. We ended up going back actually the next weekend, and I understood why she said you could die, because we almost died, and that was like not even nighttime. It's really dangerous to hike there. But that was for me. So yes, I was so upset because I'm like for me it was like I wait for Michael Monday to Friday, and he also worked on Saturday sometimes, to just go on that trip. And for me, I love going on trips, like going outside somewhere, and then I realized but as I was that so upset and crying, I realized, but why do I wait for him? Why do I sit at home Monday to Friday and wait for him? So right after the trip which was on like that failed trip, which was on Sunday, on Monday, I'm just like, well, I'm just going to be myself. I have a whole list of things I want to visit here in LA. And I started going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I go on a trip, and then I come back home, and Michael comes back home from work, and he's like, what did you do? I'm like, I went on to that museum. I went on that trip. And Michael's like, oh, wow, your day sounded more fun than my day. And I'm like, yeah, Michael, it did. But it's like, I was having fun. So I actually learned from that. But at that particular moment, I was very upset, very sad. But I realized, why do I wait? Like, I can just still have fun without him. And then when he's free, we still went again to those springs, and we ended up hiking together the week after. So
got it.
Yeah.
I think the hysteria was out of complete control. Mm-hmm. And
mm-hmm. How did you handle that?
I handled it okay.
What did you do?
Fend for my life. But it's about the hysteria. It was so out of control. Like I can't even, like it was like she was possessed. And another thing, I don't want to diagnose. I've been really good at not diagnosing her, but I think it's helpful for you to know is, her, growing up, her dad didn't give her what she wanted, mm-hmm. and she was very, very harsh about it. And it was like, it was going to be his way and nobody else's way. And that brought up a lot of pain. And so I feel like that is a trigger point for her, and mm-hmm. she has to get her way. And if she doesn't, it reminds her of that. So, but then I get excluded in this, mm-hmm. in this mix.
So here's what I'm getting so far is that there's a lot building up in Daria, and she seems to have figured that out. It's like, if I can't do what I want to do with you, then I'll just be free to, that's not the right word. She needs something to do. She's a high activity person. She likes activity. I'm assuming, right, Daria?
Well, like, yeah, trips. Like, I love traveling, trips. Yeah, mm-hmm, going somewhere new. Even if it's like just a museum. I love that, yeah.
So I think this is one of the things that happened in my marriage, is that when my wife sat at home waiting for me to come home from work because she wasn't working, I wouldn't come home and then take her out somewhere because I was either saving money or I was tired from work or something. So all she did all day was sit at home waiting for someone to come home to talk to do something with. And the more I didn't fill her needs in that respect, my marriage just continued to disintegrate. I didn't know this until later, but I realized that my wife at the time had a high need for activity, a high need for doing something because she didn't do much. So what I'm sensing from you guys is that she is building up some sort of expectation or excitement. So when you guys do go out, it's way up there. And if what you're doing doesn't meet that, then it's just not enough, because I've sat, like she said, I've sat home all day waiting for this moment. And now we, in this example, drive 2 hours and she doesn't get what she wants. And now, like you said, she goes into hysterics. Now, here's what happens. Here's all that repressed, stored energy of, okay, I'll sit here and just wait for the next exciting moment in my life. Okay. And she's storing that. She's storing it and storing it. And finally, I get to release and express myself. And you guys get there and it's like, I can't do it. What? Tell me if I'm wrong, Daria. What? I can't. I mean, just all this energy comes out. This usually happens with, and I'm not saying you are this, Daria. This usually happens with a passive aggressive person where they won't get outwardly angry. They'll say something a little sarcastic and then swallow that anger and swallow that emotion. And then 6 months from now, they burst out into anger and just have an explosion because they swallowed 6 months of it. So there's emotional energy that she's repressing, and it's coming out in those hysterical moments. Now, one of the things that might be helpful for you, Michael, is to know that she has high expectations of something, but don't let it get to that point where there is the end goal of, okay, in 3 weeks, we're going to do this thing, because she's going to have 3 weeks of that stored emotional energy. Does that make sense? So go ahead. That makes sense.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So I would, if I was going to give you practical advice, I have a feeling that Daria might not mind a surprise going out every now and then. Like you come home and say, hey, guess what? Boom, I'm going to make this spontaneous decision. We're going to go here. We're going to go rock climb. We're going to go play on the trampolines. We're going to go bowling, whatever, something. I don't care if it's 10:30 at night. I'm going to lose 3 hours sleep. Let's go do this thing, or whatever you can do in LA or wherever you live. So that's what's happening.
She plans every weekend so detailed. I don't have the opportunity. But last night, when we're done with the activities, I know that she loves like ice cream and sweets. There's the most famous ice cream place in LA, and I said, I'm going to surprise you. And how
is it a surprise? When you say I'm going to surprise you, that takes away the surprise, doesn't it? Or is it right away?
No, she loves that kind of stuff because I tell her, close your eyes.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Until we get there. And we're going to close your eyes as we're walking there, because I've done a lot of surprise stuff like that.
He did that after I said, now I could really eat some.
Oh, I already decided in my mind that I was going to go there. And then you just said that along the way. I was like, I'm just keeping quiet. But she loved it. She really loved it. I understand that. Right. But I do as much as I can, but I can't do it so much that I sacrifice myself, my time, what's important to me. Now I want to write a book, but I can't be like going on all these trips that I forget about me.
I agree. And I mean, I agree that you probably do have some sacrifices that you make in your life to fulfill her needs. And it's a two-way street, of course. You have needs, and it's quite possible that if Daria said, hey, tonight, I'm going to give you one whole night to yourself. If you want to write your book, if you want to take time to yourself. So there's that two-way street of supporting each other where you can invite, Michael, you can invite more spontaneity in her life, and she can invite what you need in your life, whatever that is, quiet time or a day at the spa. I don't know what you want to do. But the point is, from your stories, from what you just said, there's a buildup of emotional energy, and there has to be a release before the big trip, if that makes sense. Or even the little trip shopping or something. But that's one aspect. That's not like this is going to end all the hysterics and everything's great. But hysterics are usually because of some sort of buildup. So the buildup needs to be addressed before it happens. So, Daria, it's important for you to let Michael know what's building up inside of you before it gets too much and you can't hold it in anymore. Now, is that something you do or can do in a manner that is calm before the buildup gets too strong? Because you can feel it inside you, right, Daria? You can feel something building inside you. You said you don't want to stay home all day, every day. And there's something building and compounding day after day.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm normally a hysterical person. I would say it was just a one-time event where I became so upset and hysterical. And for me, it was very helpful because I learned right away. Like, as I became hysterical, like at that particular time, it was like a flash for me because I understood why this is going on. It's because really it's not Michael's fault. It's because I do it to myself. It's not that something Michael is doing it to me. So I think to me it was actually helpful. It was not good in the sense that, you know, this thing happened. And of course, it was not nice for Michael to witness it. But I think it was like a one-time thing. I wouldn't say I tend to be like, I tend to have those like hysterical moments a lot. Or really, I can't even remember having a moment like that. It happens really rarely, I would say. And when it happens though, like at that particular moment, I remember I was sitting in the car, I'm so upset. And then I'm like, I just realized immediately, this is what I need to do. I just need to start going on those trips by myself. I can't put all my hopes into Michael. And, you know, and it was good. It all worked out because now we go together. But then when I'm free, I can also go by myself. So for me, it was a learning experience. I would say it's more Michael really who tends to be really moody, like, and kind of get really angry, like in public, especially at me. So I don't think I suffer like from these like hysterical. I would say it's more even Michael who tends to become sometimes like very, like when he gets angry, it's kind of like scares me almost. Although I deal with it. I mean, I guess that's kind of like part of his character.
So Michael, you were wanting to interrupt there.
I don't know. I feel, I'm going to be completely honest. Like,
that's what we're all about.
This is just an example. I can give you more and more examples. And she's really, I don't want to take it, but she's really good at presenting you a certain thing when there's something else going on. She's going to tell you the lesson, but not telling you about so many other things or maybe she's not aware of it.
No, honestly, I don't know, because like in the past week, like Michael was really like upset at me or like angry at me. And then I was actually talking to one of my best friends and I was like saying like, you know, Michael is really moody and I don't quite understand like what's going on. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of hard for me to deal with it because like he's moody. He's kind of like unloving to me. Like I tell him I love you and he doesn't really respond. You know, and we did have an argument like a week before, but then he keeps accusing me like, oh, you're so self-centered, you're so selfish, blah, blah, blah. And I understand that. I know I need to work on that. I know I need to be more like conscious of him. And I try to do that. I'm not perfect. I need to just like, he needs to learn things. I need to, but like, he was just like for a week, he was really angry at me. He doesn't really want to talk to me. He's like, I've spoiled you. I'm not going to lower my standards anymore. You're not feminine enough for me. Like all these accusations. And like, I still treat him lovingly, but it was like, I was honestly though, like I was talking to my friend, I was telling my friend, I don't quite understand like why Michael is so angry. And it was hard for me to like actually like understand like what exactly, because I do have moments when I get like angry and I want my way and things like that. But then, yeah, I mean, you know.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Michael. I'm gathering data. We have time. We have time. Don't worry. I'm gathering data.
Okay. I've learned that, you know, maybe I get a little too emotional because my mom has taught me to, you know, communicate emotionally.
Michael, like,
but anyway, I know, but I'm like, getting much.
He yells at me in public. He calls me bitch in public, and all these things. Like, I'm sorry, okay, because like you, like, it's really not appropriate. I mean, and I live with it and I deal with it because my dad will like yell at my mom in public, although my dad wouldn't call her like bitch in public. Like people like. Like today we went hiking, he gets angry and like, yeah, I put him down and he we just do it to each other though. The only thing is like I guess I don't yell in public so much, but like we put each other down. Like I get angry, I put him down. He gets angry at me putting him down. He takes my bottle, throws it on the ground, and just walks away. Like we just do it to each other. Like it's not like, oh, you're wrong, I'm right. We both do it. We both need to, you know.
Perfect.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, there's so much going on. I'm sorry, Paul.
That's okay.
But I know I get emotional, but I'm getting much better. I consciously tell myself, okay, I'm going to communicate the message to you without the emotion. And it's been a lot better. But I remember I'd get angry before, and I was talking to a friend about this. And then it's like, I invalidate myself, like, so, oh, maybe I should look at myself. Maybe I'm being triggered. Maybe it's my insecurity, my fear. And then this is what she constantly tells me as I validate my own anger. She's like, no, you're just being triggered. Oh, it's just your insecurity. She constantly invalidates me. Mm-hmm. And she very frequently puts me down or she makes me feel like I'm not enough or I'm not doing enough for her. It's just really, a habit that she has. And
all right. So let me ask you this. When you see that she's upset, let's say overly upset, maybe hysterical, maybe not. Michael, you see her as more hysterical than she sees herself, and I'm sure it's all a matter of perspective. But when you see that come out of her, in your body, in your mind, what feelings and emotions are coming up in that moment? Is there fear? Is there anger? What's going on?
So you said when she's in that moment of hysteria?
Yeah, when that moment comes up, and now maybe you want to call her a bitch.
Stop
maybe
calling it hysteria, because if this is gonna air, I just am not okay with you calling me because I think hysteria is more like of a medical term. And
okay. When she's when I feel like she's having an episode.
Yeah. No, but an episode, it also sounds. I just feel like I feel disrespected right now.
That's honest. And Michael does.
Okay, when she's having a moment. Can I say that?
A moment is better, yeah. But hysteria or fit is kind of like as if I suffer from epilepsy or something. Because honestly, I feel like it's unfair because you get angry so often and you yell at me in public in front of people. And I'm not saying I don't do anything. No, I do as many things that are stupid, disrespectful, everything. But at least I don't call you all these people who listen to this are going to think I actually suffer from some kind of medical condition or something. And I don't think you have the right to diagnose me unless I get diagnosed officially by a doctor. So yeah, a moment is fine because that sounds like I get angry, I get upset, I do all these crazy things. A moment is fine. Yeah, that doesn't sound disrespectful to me. That's fine.
That's good. That's good honesty. And we're just releasing right now. We're expressing and releasing some things we're releasing, and that's her perception of that word. We all have different meanings for different words. You are probably more
the hysteria was just talking about that hot springs and that I'm validated to say that. So that's what that's the only moment that I referred to hysteria.
Okay. And I would also like to refer to a moment of hysteria when we were driving in a car and I was talking to Michael and he got really angry. I mean, yeah, of course it was something I was saying, I was probably being really super annoying and that's true. Yeah. So that was definitely my fault. But he had also a moment of hysteria where he's driving and he takes his arm and he starts squishing my head against the against the car window as he's driving, almost damaging my eye. I mean, he did not damage my eye, but he also started kind of pushing me like that against the window. So I think that was pretty hysterical too.
Have you guys thought about taking a martial arts class together?
So if I have hysteria, then I think so do you, Michael.
But I am working through it. And I was talking to Jade.
That's great. So am I.
No, I was talking to Jade and I was explaining how my mom was going berserk on me over what I thought it was a small thing. And then she just said wow, I see how you react emotionally in life. I see how you're reacting emotionally with Daria because this is what you learned. And I've learned to to try to tone it down. And especially when I communicate with her. And for me, I feel like it's helping.
And I feel like I'm learning too because it was really hard for me as a child because my dad, he really likes to have his own way, and he would like have me and my mom like kind of like follow him around. Like if he wants something, like it's gonna be his way. And as a child, I really suffered from that. But at the same time, I kind of became like that. So if I want something, I want it my way. I want things to follow through. So tonight when we were shopping, normally I wanted to buy boots, but we didn't have time. And like normally I would be like, I don't care. I'm just going there and gonna buy those boots. But today I was like, I didn't go there. I was just like, okay, let's go. Like, I'm still in that direction of like wanting, and Michael is probably still in that direction of reacting emotionally. But I feel like we're both like kind of like becoming less of that.
We are a lot better than before.
That's great.
Even though as we're bickering right now, bickering is a part of, relationships.
That's great because there's no refunds for previous coaching sessions.
We're like, man, this couple really needs to break up.
I'm sharing my snack with Michael.
So
I'm giving him water.
I understand. I understand that. I've really I see the world through problems. So when I see a problem in our relationship, it's like it's hard to be grateful. But but that's another aspect.
Well, here's something that.
But one thing I want to really quick is, we're just fighting and bickering, but I just thought of it myself, like, what is it that I want out of her? And I want her to include me in her decision-making process or what we do together just to feel included. Because a lot of times she's just in her own world and she doesn't include me. And that's what pisses me off.
Daria. Well, actually, before we address that, there's obviously a time where you both perceive each other as getting a little overreactive. Can I use that term? And
now Paul is so careful about the words that you can't use hysteria, can't use episode.
Can I say psychotic? No, I mean. And when someone is in overreaction, it's usually based in fear or anger, and anger is usually based in fear anyway, so it all comes down to fear. And when you're in that overreactive place, there's two ways to squash it. One of those ways is to be the authority in the situation and say, you need to chill. You need to stop right now and just be the brick wall. Don't react, just act and say, you need to chill. Both of you. You need to stop. You're an adult. Let's talk about this. Just stop. It's forward. It's kind of tough love. But it is a way to say, look, I'm here. I have control. What do you need? So when you can be that brick wall and say, look, the drama stops here. Let's talk about this. What's the problem? And then, you or Daria might just go off and just be emotional about it. But one of you has to kind of be in that place of authority and go and not be the reactive person, not be triggered, even though you probably are triggered in the background. And the other way to squash the overreactive situation is to create a zone of safety. I mean, they both kind of create a zone of safety because when someone steps in and says, I'll take care of this, don't worry, you need to chill out, I've got it under control. That creates a zone of safety in your relationship or wherever you are. And the other way is just to allow them to continue expressing. Go ahead, let it all out. What else you got? I always say that. What else you got? Yeah, come on. Oh, you're upset about that? Okay, what else you got? What are you mad about? Come on, bring it on. And just be like this absorption. Just send it all my way. I'm just going to let it float right through me. Whatever. So it might be interesting to practice one of those. One of them might cause an even greater reaction. Like, don't tell me to stop. I'm really pissed off at you. But that's when, in your case, Michael, where if you were to act as, and I'm going to say this is going to sound wrong, as an adult man, and your child did not take the reins, your child did not come in and get triggered and reacted. If you just decided, I'm going to be the man in this situation, and you just need to shut up. Just right now. I love you. Shut up. You don't have to go any further than this. You just need to relax, back off. I think what happens in one of the situations we talked about with you and Daria is that if Daria saw you as more masculine than she has seen you in the past, then it's possible she's not going to be aggressive towards you because someone's telling her to straighten up. And maybe the father figure that she never had is finally standing up and saying, look, you need to chill out right now. Not sure. And same goes for you, Daria, is if he gets emotional about something and say, look, I don't know what your problem is, but you need to stop right now. And it's kind of like, and I hate to use this analogy, it's kind of like dog training. If you've ever watched Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer, he teaches that in a pack of dogs, there's a leader. There's always a leader in the pack. And when you have an animal, when you have a dog or several dogs, when you live with them, you have to become the pack leader. And the way you do that is a calm, assertive energy, not triggered. Because a lot of people will get triggered with their animal and say, get off the couch, and maybe smack them or yell at them, and they're triggered and they're just so upset. Oh, he's always on the couch. And they get triggered. But Caesar teaches that calm, assertive energy. Get off the couch. And there's no emotional energy, or at least negative emotional energy behind it. It is, I am the leader. This is what you need to do. It's irrelevant.
What if she? Okay, I totally agree with what you're saying. I'll try it. I'll definitely try it. What if in that case she still persists? That's
when you create that safety zone. There's two ways, and again, it works both ways. You can do it too, Daria. The safety zone is you be the brick wall, you be the authority, and say you just need to chill out. I'm here. I got everything under control. We may not be able to do this right now, but we'll do it later. You just need to stop. And when that doesn't work, and then you just become the absorption. You say, go ahead. What else you got? What else are you angry about? Yeah. Okay. I'm an F and A hole. What else you got? Just keep it coming.
I actually have a good example of doing this today. So I'm very proud of myself. So today in the morning we went hiking, and and we had a big argument, and then we ended up hiking in different directions. But we came there in one car. So eventually I was waiting for Michael to come and, from his hike. And then as he came back from his hike and we met up again, and then he was upset. He was like, well, we should be hiking together because we had argued. So eventually we ended up hiking separately, and he was upset and he was saying things. And then feel oh, I should respond to him to prove my point. But then I just let him talk, what he was upset about. I just let him talk. And I'm and I told him I acknowledge what you're saying, and he actually started calming down because if I had started speaking back to him and no, you're wrong, this is, if we would have kept arguing, but I just told him I hear you, I understand what you're saying, Mm-hmm. And then he actually calmed down. He got into the car, we went back to the house, and I was just calm. I'm and then I cooked us both lunch, and we ended up eating lunch, and it was fine. And then we went shopping, and it was actually fine. Because I was feeling upset about something that he's doing or not doing. And so I feel I need to prove my point. But then when we met and he was upset, I'm I told myself, I don't need to go into every specific detail, accuse him of things and just start bickering at each other. It's okay. I can just be calm, and it will pass. And it did. I was just calm. I let him talk. It passed, and we just went on with our day, calmly,
Good.
So
that's good. That's exactly one of the techniques you can use. Now, here's a suggestion. You may or may not follow this, but when it appears that one of you is starting to get upset or emotional, then whoever goes first has the floor, and it stays that way. The other person's not allowed to get into the argument or the debate. It's not going to work all the time. But usually when one person starts up, here's the biggest problem in relationships. One of the biggest problems is that something gets triggered in your partner. The partner gets upset and triggers you. and vice versa. That's one of the biggest issues that happens in relationships and usually why you can't resolve a lot of things. How do you stop that? When one person gets triggered, it's going to take a lot of wherewithal, a lot of conscious thought to go, my partner's being triggered. Well, damn it, I am too, but I know they are, and they're in that trigger state. I need to practice. I need to be either the rock or the sponge and see if I can at least help them through it like Daria did with you. Let me be the sponge. What else you got? And maybe it helped calm you down. Did it help calm you down, Michael?
I mean, she's just trying to like, oh yeah, I'm following what you're doing. That's how I'm feeling because I was already calm as I was expressing it to her. I said, you know what? I'm not going to say it with anger. I'm going to say it with calmness. And that's what I was doing. It's not like, oh, I calmed him down. I was like,
no, I'm not saying I calmed you down. I'm not trying to take away credit from you or like put all the attention on me, as you always say. I'm just saying that I guess I just decided. But what I did do was I decided not to talk back to you. Like okay, you were calm. I'm not saying you weren't, but to me you sounded upset. But I mean, that's true. Like, yeah, you were calmer than before when we had the argument. But it is true. Like, you cannot deny that I did not talk back at you, and I did not try to kind of attack you back or.
But I'm validated because if you put me down, I mean, if you make me feel like I'm not enough, I'm going to speak with a little bit of emotion, and I have a right to express how I feel. And it's not like.
But the only thing though, I had a problem because when Michael, to me, it felt like you were upset. And to me, the way I perceived it, you perceived it differently.
But I had a right to be upset if you're going to make me feel like I'm not enough. Of course. It's not be like, okay, I'm going to let it go and let it slide and not say anything. You make me feel like I'm not enough. I have every right to express that to you.
Yes, as you were expressing that to me, I told you, Michael, I hear you. I acknowledge what you're saying. I am aware of what you're saying. I wasn't trying to tell you, no, Michael, that's not true that I don't, what you're saying is wrong. I was like, okay, Michael, I'm listening to you. Because I told him, Michael, I hear you. I'm listening to you. But he said, Daria, you have to apologize. Say you're sorry. And that was for me, I was I don't feel like I should say, to me, inside my head, I felt why should I apologize to him? I feel like he's also equally participated in this argument. So why do I have that's what sometimes it has hard for me because he's you apologize. But I feel we both contributed to the argument. So why do I have to be the one to apologize? But then I told him, you know, Michael, I hear what you're saying, but I don't feel I should be apologizing to you. So. Yeah,
this still emotionally charged situation. So it's kind of hard to say, I'm sorry.
Think clearly.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I could have just said and in the past, sometimes I have said oh, I'm sorry, just kind of so that Michael calms down and we can do. But today I kind of just honestly told him I hear you what you're saying and I acknowledge what you're saying, but I don't feel like I should say sorry because I don't know. I mean, I don't want to just say sorry and lie to him if I feel we both we're part of, because actually I told him this. I told him, Michael, I don't feel like I should be telling you I'm sorry because I feel you do things that make me upset and I do things that make you upset. And that's how the argument began, right? And I told him, Michael, I don't feel like it's you're wrong, I'm right, or I'm wrong, you're right. I feel like we both contributed to this. So I don't feel like I should be telling you I'm sorry because I feel like we both, that's what I said. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Michael understood me.
But on a consistent basis, you invalidate my feelings. You don't validate them. You're oh, it's just your fears. It's just your insecurities. That's what you did the whole last week. Mm-hmm. And when I asked you to say, I'm sorry, to apologize is because you made me feel like I'm not enough. And I feel like you should say you don't admit that you're wrong. You don't admit that you're wrong.
But the reason I kind of told you this is because to me, it feels like I treat you with so much love. I have so much love for you. When I'm at work, I message you, I love you, honey, I don't know, and when I come back from work, I hug you, and I really feel I do get really angry, that episode at Hot Springs and stuff, so definitely it's not I'm always loving, but on a daily basis, I feel very loving and to you. But then you accuse me of all these things, how, oh, you're so, no, wait, let me talk and then we'll talk. And then you tell me oh, you're selfish. And to me, I have a hard time to actually thinking of wait, how exactly am I being selfish? Because you constantly keep telling me how I'm so self-centered and selfish. But I actually in my heart, I think about you and I actually have so much love for you. And I have a hard time putting together what you're accusing me of with what I actually feel for you and believe to be doing for you for the most part. And so that's why for me, I guess it feels maybe you're being, maybe it's things I do like where you get triggered. And so
exactly, because love is more than just words and just hugging me. And I mean, I love that and I appreciate that. But when you really you don't include me, it's in a really like just living in your own world. That's important. Love is also action.
Like, what kind of action would you like me to take?
There was an example. Okay, like
what kind of action?
She has to go to work, and so she has to go to bed really early. We want to sleep together, and she was like taking her time. And normally she'll wake up at like I think 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, 7:30, and then like right before we go to bed, because you know how sleep is important to me. It's like right before they go to bed, she's like, "Oh, by the way, I have to wake up at 6." And I was like, "What? You know, you tell me this now? I was waiting for you this whole time to get to bed, and now you're just like you're living your own world. You should have told me earlier so we could sleep separately or sleep earlier." And it's just like you didn't include me, and I told her my feelings. I turn on the lights, and she just like goes into quote unquote hysteria. So I'm sorry, and just like he just yells at me and just like goes, absolute like yelling, and then just like it's just like. You love is also like, you got to treat me with respect, You can't treat me like trash. She's very loving. She's one of the most loving people. She is the most loving person, like she's very loving. But there are like
select your words correctly, Michael.
There's frequent moments where I feel like she treats me like trash. So it's not just like, oh, I'm very loving to you with words and hugging you. It's also like, hey, you got to show, including me, that's love to say, hey, Michael sleep is really important to him. We should sleep early, or I should let him know ahead of time that, okay, we should sleep separately. But it was just like right before we got, oh, by the way, I had to wake up at 6. It's like, it doesn't include me. And that's, and you don't yell at me like that because, that was something that you should have told me. And
I guess I just didn't realize that you wanted me to tell you, because I feel like there are so many bedrooms in this house. So in my perspective, it was like, I go to bed later, big deal. You just go sleep in another bedroom, because we have slept like in different bedrooms when I have to wake up early. So I guess
for 20 minutes, I keep on telling you, Daria, let's get ready for bed. Daria's ready for bed. So you already know we're sleeping together. And then like right before we go to bed, oh, by the way, and you wake up at 6.
I guess it's just, to me, not a big deal. Like, if you want to go to bed, like, just go sleep in one of the other bedrooms in this house. So I guess I can tell you in advance. I told you today, like, in advance, I may need to go to bed later. That's fine.
It's not a day in advance. It's just like, as I'm telling you.
No, I'm saying today I told you that I may today have to, tonight go to bed, like, later. But I'm just saying, like, for me, it was just like, because, like, you slept in another bedroom, like, a week ago or so, because we came back late.
That's just an example, okay? Yeah. You don't have to relate an example. I'm just saying that's an example.
Yeah.
Of not including me. That's it.
But to me, it wasn't, like, about not including you. To me, it's like, I include you in the way that I think, well, Michael can always go sleep in another bedroom.
You're like, oh, you didn't even think about it. It's like, oh, like, I'm already telling you, let's go to bed, let's go to bed.
I did think, but I thought there was a very simple solution. Which is sleeping in another bed, like another room.
She told me a long time ago while I was waiting for an hour.
I don't even remember that. I honestly, I was just sitting in my room, and then you come, and I guess I
yell at me in that like.
No, yeah, that was
like
because
demon-like anger.
Yeah, because I'm like, Michael, I have to wake up in 6 hours. Please just go sleep in any other room and let me sleep for these 6 hours, because there's like 5 rooms where you can be sleeping right now. Why are you getting angry?
Respect. You don't treat me with that type of demon-like anger.
No, but it's like, if you want to sleep, Michael, just go sleep in one of the rooms instead of getting angry at me, not letting me sleep.
A principle of including me, and which is often like, and also treating me with more respect.
Okay, my turn.
No, it's not. I'm just joking.
I have to congratulate you both for actually being able to pass the microphone during these fights.
Improvement, as I'm telling you.
But maybe you should give another example, because I feel like this example with sleep, it's not real sleep. Okay.
It's like,
Examples are always examples of something bigger. And I listen to the words. And the words that come out of Michael's mouth all the time are respect. I don't want to be treated with disrespect. With you, Daria, it is more, not so much your words, but how you are. You're very... I don't think you're self-centered at all. I just think when you are doing things, you have a general overall love and respect for Michael, but things don't come to I might be wrong. Things just don't come to mind. You're like,
Yeah.
you're just kind of free. And like
Yeah.
we've talked about before, you're just kind of carefree. And it's not that you disrespect him, but
No, exactly. It's like I have so much love for him, but he like dwells on these like small details, which like I don't even think about, and then it becomes like a huge issue, and I'm like, what's wrong?
No,
Like,
that's not.
but it is true, kind of. Like some things.
We
like,
went
about
shopping last week.
Yeah.
And
No, I'm
then,
not saying it's always like that, but I'm saying like sometimes it is.
And I told her like, oh, I like to do
Like
some
that.
shopping, and then she's like, I said, I'll only take a few minutes. She's like, no, you don't get any few minutes. It's all about, I need to get my shopping done. Like, I was like, just not even a few minutes? Like, no. And she walks away. I'm just like, why am I helping you pick out your clothes?
You walked away.
okay. So we come full circle to where Daria always wants what she wants. Right? That's what you started with. And
So it's the end of the session.
No.
When we started.
So you guys are completely healed. You're good. No, so what I see is that Michael seems to be the more analytically minded, where you have kind of a bigger picture, Daria. I think Michael gets a big picture too. I'm not saying it's it, but I think that's what is a big driver. So Michael, the way he operates, the way he processes things is very detail oriented. And the way you process things, Daria, is more, it'll get done somehow, or I might be wrong, or I know what the big picture is. I know what I want, because that's kind of a big picture. I know what I want. I don't know how I'm going to get it, but I'm going to get it. Maybe kind of like an entrepreneurial mind, actually. I know what I want. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to jump off the cliff and build my wings on the way down. We'll see if I can make it before we crash. Where Michael is, we've got to build the plane first, test fly it 1,000 times before we launch it off the cliff, because I'm not taking a risk. Am I right?
Sounds kind of.
We gotta have a plane.
No, because that's actually.
She's like, I'm gonna fly without a plane.
We went to a psychic, and she's like a psychic and a life coach. We went a couple months ago, and that's exactly how she kind of described us.
Oh yeah.
So it's really good. Yeah.
Well, the hard part about that is that one of you wants to go skydiving, and the other one wants to learn to skydive for at least a year before jumping out of the plane. So there's got to be a little bit more risk taking on Michael's side and a little bit more caution on Daria's side, because you're so far to extremes. So when you approach a situation, Michael is more methodical and Daria is more carefree. You both have it in you to be methodical and carefree. Michael might look at the big picture in the sense that if we do this now, in 6 months, we're going to be broke or broken up or what have you. Where Daria is kind of like, I'm just living and enjoying life today. So there's huge visions for both of you. And it does seem like Michael is more of the step-by-step guy and let's plan for the future guy. That's kind of how I am too. And Daria is more of the, hey, we're here. Let's have fun. Let's spend $1,000. Who cares? We only live once. We could be dead tomorrow. I mean, seriously, we could be dead tomorrow. Why don't we do this? So there is positive stuff in both of those, because that also points to where Daria likes the spontaneity of things, where, hey, hon, we're going to go rock climbing tomorrow. We are? Wow. Okay. Let's do it. I have a feeling that she would probably agree to things more often with surprises like that, where Michael maybe not.
Actually, because Michael, I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago or so, because he was working, and then I do these translations, but I don't really do much else during the day. And then one day, I think 2 weeks ago, he was in the morning before he left for work, he was like, oh, tonight, and it was Thursday, it was in the middle of the week, and he was like, oh, tonight I'm going to take you out for dinner in the evening. And I was like, yes! And I was happy for the whole day. I'm like, yes, they're going to do something. So I was totally up for that.
I was a lot oh, you have to say something, Michael? Do you have to say something right now?
No, I don't. I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm very methodical, and the book I want to write or create, I'm taking a really long time because I'm overthinking it.
Oh, I bet you do. That's true. I've known you a long time, and that's true. You do. You overthink things.
I know.
So I think that's kind of, what do they say, a wrench in the fan or whatever, a wrench in the cog, where one of you is trying to be more adventurous and the other person is, still drawing the map to adventure. And I think it would help a lot, Michael, if you just said, you know what? We could die tomorrow. Let's just do this. I'm not saying spend your life savings. I'm saying that sometimes when there's risk involved and you're too careful, you miss out on what could be fun, adventure, things like that. But Daria also has to understand that, Michael, you're hyper aware of dangers. You're hyper aware of things that could go wrong. So Daria, your understanding of him has to be, okay, I know he's going to be very critical about this situation. So I'm going to remember that when I talk to him. Honey, I know that this seems dangerous, but I really want to do this. And I think we'd both have fun at it. So there's kind of a supportive communication that can take place. Just like Michael can say, you know what, there's a lot of risk involved in here. I really don't want to do this. But if it's important to you, I'll take the chance. That's a big step. I mean, you are jumping off the cliff and building your wings.
It's hard to surprise her because she's planning every trip, every weekend, available time.
It's not always about surprises. Sometimes you're in a place, you're at a restaurant and there's a dance floor and she wants to dance and you're like, I'm not going out there.
I'm a really good dancer, by the way. And the last time we danced, she couldn't hang.
But even like, for example, wait, and what? And I didn't what?
If you couldn't hang, you're like, I'm tired, Michael. And I was like, I was cutting the rug, like.
No, but even for example, with San Francisco, where I'm going right now, he always he focuses more on the negative or it's going to be like. That's just an example of many different things, like skydiving or whatever, or this, for example, because it's it will all, Michael approaches with his mindset, oh, my girl, this is not going to work out. This is so awful. We're so far away. But then you could also approach it with the way well, we will find a way. I don't know, he approaches the future with so much fear, but it really is I don't know, it's just not such a big deal. You can really just take things chill, and then you will always in that moment find a solution, because if people are committed to each other, there will always be a solution with anything, whether you have to be methodical and you cannot just do things. I understand that, but at the same time, you cannot be so scared of doing anything that you just sit there paralyzed.
Well, Michael's getting that. I mean, as I'm talking to him now, I can see his body language. He's kind of getting what I'm saying. And there's, you've spent your whole life, Daria, being carefree, living in the now.
No, that's actually, I don't think that's true, because I think for me, I have had some experiences in life where it made me more like that. I think because I suffered from depression for several years in college, and I was really just paralyzed, emotionally. I wasn't doing anything. And then eventually I realized I can spend my whole life being like that, and then I'll just die and I'll have a gray, boring life behind me. Or I can be more it's more just that I tend to learn just from things that I experience or things that happen to me. And because you honestly do carpe diem or whatever.
No, she does need to learn consequences. And she's or when your anniversary is coming up, we got to go to Grand Canyon. That's what we agreed. But then because of her job, she gets off late. And so basically we'll get there 3:30 in the morning, stay there for next day. I was like, this is not going to work. We got to go somewhere else that's closer. And she's like, well, how about Phoenix? And then that'll kind of work out.
There's that consequences thing again.
Yeah. So we come with a compromise. I don't know. I feel like that adventure and me being really safe, I don't know if it comes up that much in our relationship.
But I think Michael is getting better, because I feel for example, when we just got to know each other, he was literally because I think his parents, from what he told me, his parents, for example, they think even a town that is really close, to them it's really far because they don't really go anywhere. But then for me, of course, having moved over the ocean, for me, anything, I just have different distance perceptions, which, everyone just has a different one. But since we met each other, Michael and I, we have been going to places like San Francisco and Las Vegas and stuff like that. For example, like when we were in Las Vegas, I was like, we should go to New York City. And like normally Michael would be like, no, like we won't, it's too expensive. But he actually did say like, oh yeah, like this year we will go sometime. So I feel like we both, I think, are like changing. And I feel like Michael is more like I guess carefree in a sense or whatever. I think we both influence each other.
I want to be more carefree, not in a relationship. It's more like my book, at work in the pharmacy. Like I really feel like I overthink it way too much, or I don't know, in a relationship, she's just planning so much, and my goal is just to make it practical.
A pharmacist kind of has to think twice before putting the right amount of pills, and I can see where you get it.
Oh, my mom, like she lives in a lot of fear, and she just tells me, watch out with this, watch out with that.
His mom, I think like he definitely did learn it from his mom, especially because I guess he learned, like he lives with his mom, so he constantly hears it, like because his mom, like she told me like I have this bag and it's kind of like an older bag, and then like his mom told me like that like this bag like so it's old and it kind of like peels a little bit like on one side, and she said like, oh Daria, like you shouldn't be wearing it anymore, like or like you will become infertile. Like I mean, it's really funny. But I mean, my mom, she's also very health conscious, so it kind of like makes sense. But it's also like really funny. So because that's how like
You guys seem to get along great, even when you're arguing.
Is that sarcasm?
No, it's true.
Really?
It's
okay,
true.
good.
Because even
we're getting better. We're getting a lot better.
Because even when you're in the heat of the moment and you're saying things, and she said, you call me a bitch in public, and there's still that deeper connection there, which is good. There's still that deeper connection, which brings you back. And I really think that's a shared vision for both of you in the future, to be together, to be loving, to be with each other closer in that way. And then the bickering and the shallow stuff comes up. That's a sign of a deeper issue individually in both of you, whether it's anger, fear. I'll probably repeat myself from our last session, but all of our triggers and fears come from childhood, and we bring those, unless we had a traumatic event when we were an adult, but typically all of them come from childhood, and we bring those fears into our adult world and then act like children again. So when we get triggered in any way, we are responding as if we did when we were children.
Can you tell me how I'm doing that? Repeating that cycle in my life? I don't remember that much from my childhood. I just know that I have a really overprotective mother, and I don't even need to remember because it still happens right now. Well, so that's how I put the pieces together. I was like, oh, she just said that 10 seconds ago. Oh, no wonder. But I don't remember like the child thing. Like it's.
What triggers you? Think of something that triggers you.
Being disrespected. Not feeling included.
Not feeling included is probably part of disrespect.
Selfish people.
What? I'm sorry?
Selfish people.
Selfish people. And is that included in disrespect towards you?
It could be.
Well, I guess you feel like selfish people disrespect you. You would probably feel disrespected by selfish people, right? That would make sense.
I'm just thinking about in the relationship.
Mm-hmm. Is that a trigger for you outside?
Incompetency triggers me.
Incompetency?
Yeah, that really triggers me. I like in the pharmacy, I'm just like, I'm not saying the employees are incompetent. It's just I'm trying to train them, and when they don't get it or they make, a simple mistake, I just go, and I have all these things I need to do. I'm just like, I get so overwhelmed with all the things I need to do. I can tell I'm getting triggered all the time.
Mm-hmm. Here's a question. Does Daria ever do anything that you deem as incompetent? Be honest. Because remember, this is just no. This is good. As he blocks her ears. This is good because what it means
before. No, but yeah, go ahead.
Remember, words have different meanings to different people. So what you deem as incompetent in someone else could be someone else's way, not incompetence, but just not knowing how to fill your needs. It could just be totally off the charts either way. So what do you deem something incompetent when she does a certain behavior, I'm assuming? right? I mean, you were starting to say something.
I really see it come up in the pharmacy or when somebody's trying to teach me something. I'm like, gotta get it right. I don't want to, and I just don't want to appear as stupid. And I remember I would project.
Yourself.
Yeah. Like I lost my keys or something at the pharmacy.
In Las Vegas.
Anyways.
What happens in Las Vegas
stays in Vegas. But I used to project that onto her. I think I do it less. I do notice that I'm constantly telling her like, "Oh, Daria, you gotta clean the sink," or Daria, you gotta wear. She's fear of cold. You gotta wear pants to protect your legs. Daria, you gotta drink more green. I'm just like constantly like I make everything thinking. I know I do that. I don't know if that's related.
What your mother does to you, right? No.
Yeah.
You're kind of a pain in the butt in that respect, aren't you?
She does that to me.
I tell Michael, you're so anal. But then I do that to him. Like I tell him, you're only allowed to watch TV like 15 minutes a day. So yeah, it's like Virgos. They're like that, I would say.
Now, why do you want her to do anything like that really doesn't affect you? Wear pants. I mean, that doesn't affect you. That affects her.
But it leaves these marks on. I don't know. Leaves these like marks on her legs, and it's just doesn't look good. It's just like because she has that heater on for 6-7 hours a day, like she's sitting right next to it. I'm just like, anyways. I know I sound like my mom, but
no, this is good. Don't let that go because
I'm like the sink is like turning brown and rusty. Like you gotta clean it. And then she's like wanting to be healthier, and then she's making a smoothie and also cooking porridge. You're not supposed to, I know I said this in an earlier episode, not supposed to mix those two together. It's like, make sure, you eat the smoothie and you wait like 20 minutes. I know, but I realize, I catch myself like, man, I'm just making my life revolved around her. I got to think about myself.
My mom, because when he says these things, it sounds very much like what my mom, but I mean it, like both of them, they mean it in a good way.
I think her mom hired me to like watch over.
No, because he does like say a lot of things that my mom would say, but they're like good things though. Like my mom would tell me like you should not be mixing fruit with like I guess like I don't know, like porridge or whatever. So they really do say like similar things.
Well, is it
just bother me as long as he's like it doesn't, as long as it doesn't take away from Michael's happiness. I don't.
It doesn't cause a problem then when he says something like
Oh, no, I think it's okay because I'm like that. I'm kind of like, oh, like you should do that and you shouldn't do that. And I know my mom is like that, and I guess Michael's mom is like that. So I guess we're like used to that. I don't know.
My concern for myself is like I'm making my life about her, really like the focus, and I lose the focus in myself. And I'm sending a message to her that in our relationship, the focus is you. That's just what's going on. That's a concern I have.
Yeah. I mean, when you feel incompetent or not confident or whatever you're feeling inside, like you said, Michael, you tend to project onto other people. So how do you stop projecting? You build it up in yourself. You do things that you fear to build confidence. You do things that are out of character to build character. You know what I'm saying? You continue building yourself. For example, I was a high judger all my life. Very critical, probably like you've been, Michael, or maybe you sometimes are now. And I would definitely project my fears. I don't know if the word is project, but I would certainly be critical of other people, especially the closest person in my life, my lover, my wife, my girlfriend, whatever. And that destroyed every single relationship I had. Being critical, being judgmental, being the person who says, you know what you need to do is this. You should do this. You should do that. This will make your life better. It doesn't always come out bad, but sometimes it did. And when it comes from a place of fear, then it's a judgment. It's being critical about someone else. Why was I doing that? Because I was not healthy inside. I was mentally not grown.
Hysterical.
No, not hysterical. Maybe.
Joking.
In my own way. And,
I was just joking.
No, I understand. But when you do have a certain level of fear, you probably have a lack of respect for yourself in some ways. I don't know. Because if you don't like to be disrespected, which probably comes from a fear, then you probably have a lack of respect for yourself. If you want other people to do things a certain way, then maybe there's a fear in you that you're not doing things a certain way, or
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay.
well, good. Get this in your head, because the more you express fear and anger, it's coming from a place of lack inside. And the only way to, quote, fix the other person is to fix yourself. Because as soon as you fix yourself, the other person notices it and changes.
But I've heard this a million times. But yeah, it's registering. Yeah.
This is the advice I give.
It makes sense now. It makes sense.
It's really true. Like, I think like I'm pretty high on the ladder of enlightenment. No, I'm just joking. No, but I feel like, because I feel like I generally have my own experience with that. Like, in one of my previous relationships, I would constantly like feel like this person is doing it wrong, and I would constantly try to like fix this person, like from what they wear, like everything. And I was so upset, like they don't wear they wear the wrong thing, they do everything wrong. And not only, of course, I was putting down the person, so that was also bad for them, but also like I was really trying, and I was really like bothered and trying to fix them into this, like mold them into the right person, what I would think. But having gone through that, it was like, it was a very big thing in that relationship for me, trying to fix that person and just change them according to my expectations. And now with Michael, when I see things like, for example, today we did have an argument. It was something where like I wasn't like happy with something he's doing, so that's how the argument kind of started. But really, although I do still kind of get angry from time to time with some things, like I don't like get bothered by things that he does or doesn't do like for a long time. I don't know. It's just kind of like, it doesn't like bother me as much, I guess, because I know that eventually he will learn, or eventually things will be fine, and it's life, it's a process, and we learn as we go. So like in one of my previous relationships, I was so upset about this and have to fix the person. But with Michael, I don't feel like I need to fix him. I feel like I don't know, it just doesn't, to me, it's not like an issue, for example. So I feel like I understand like what Paul is saying in that sense.
I do know this is also in the very, very beginning of the session, I said there's something else, and I feel like it's coming together. Is because it's really hard for me to not do nothing. I constantly have to be active, be productive. And if I'm not being productive, I better watch a movie so I can numb myself that I'm not being productive. Because my mindset is like, okay, instead of not building character, but knowing that I have it already. And that's why I constantly, it's like, I feel like I'm not enough, but just constantly remind that I'm enough. And I am enough, and to be grateful for what I have and who I am. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, it's not so much just reaffirming things in yourself.
Okay, Michael, you misunderstood.
I got it wrong again.
Unless it works for you, Michael. You know me. I'm annoyed by affirmations. But if affirmations work for you and they help you, see, I believe in action. Affirmations is inaction to me. So you can say, I am the strongest man on the planet. And it feels like a lie at first, but you keep saying it enough, and eventually you convince your subconscious mind and it gets rewired, and suddenly you feel like the strongest man on the planet. However, you could also walk into the lion's den and just become that person through experience. You can take action in some way. That's facing your fears. You walk through the fear, make it happen. So that's when you look at the lack in yourself. Like, how do you find lack? You go, okay, what would happen if I was inactive? Let me think about that. Well, I would feel like I need to be busy. Why? Why do you need to feel like you need to be busy? You go through that digging process of questioning yourself until you get to a feeling. Okay, why is it important for me to be busy? Well, if I'm not busy, then, whatever comes up for you. And we can go through it. We can go through that digging process. But there is something at a deep level that you feel either a fear or a lack. Fear is typically lack of something. And when you figure out what you're lacking, like I always use like the magic pill analogy. If I had a magic pill, this is what I did one day on the way home. I was feeling kind of sad. First, I didn't know why I was feeling sad. I was just driving on the way home. And I was like, why am I feeling sad? And I was like, I don't know. So I said, okay, what if I had a magic pill in my hand that would do exactly what I needed to squash this sadness? What would it do? I was like, whoa, where'd this question come from? It was pretty neat. And I said, okay, you know what? It would help me go to sleep. And as soon as that came out, it was like, whoa, are you saying that if I just got some more sleep or just got sleep right now, I wouldn't feel sad anymore? Just questioning myself. And it's like, yeah, I just want some sleep. I'm like, whoa, my sadness went away. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I get sad when I'm sleepy. I don't know why. Maybe it's just my body giving me a signal saying, hey, you know what? You need sleep. I'm going to make you feel sad until you get some sleep.
Can you repeat that again? So when I take the magic pill, what is it going to give me to give me that peace of mind?
You think about what you're going through right now in a situation. So you're in a situation, you're angry, or you
like in the pharmacy is like so hectic. There's like so many new things, and there's a major transition. So
I guess
I'm just like
So I guess what Paul is saying is that, like, for example, at the pharmacy, like, you're in a situation, like, I don't know, with another person, employee or whatever, and you feel like angry or upset or whatever you're feeling, but it's like a negative emotion. It's something that makes you uncomfortable or unhappy. So Paul is telling you, so what you could do is, I don't know, maybe he's not saying that, but I understand. Like, you can think, for example, like, if I had a magic pill in my hand right now that can do anything, like, what would it do so that all these negative emotions disappear? Something like that.
Very good. And it's not so much negative emotions disappear, but that could, that's probably a good way to word it. Yeah. What do you think, Michael?
So, for example, I'm the employee and you're teaching me now, right? Like, I'm the new employee at the pharmacy.
It's not just then teaching somebody. It's just like loads of work and responsibility coming up.
Yep.
And there's a major transition, you know.
Well, it doesn't matter. You're talking about details, but the question is whatever situation you are in. So what is the situation? Give us an example of a situation where you're uncomfortable.
I thought about this. I wrote it down, but it ended up being like, it would be like a problem-free life. You know, but that's just like that. And then I learned like I got to embrace the problem. So it's like all this load would be under control.
Problem-free life, you know, that's death, right?
wait. Okay. Wait. So I guess you're telling us that the situation that you were just talking about is a situation where you have a lot of work. Is that what you're saying? Okay. So the situation that makes you uncomfortable is a situation where you have like a lot of work. Because I know that is that what you like. It's a lot of work, kind of like because I know
work to train somebody in this huge department, and then I already have all this tasks, and I'm still learning the department.
So basically, a lot of stress because of a lot of work. And I know that you do work a lot. Like Michael, he tends to overwork him, like take on a lot of things, and he works, and then he comes home and he works on his podcast and like his book and everything. And so he has like over his head all these things that he like is doing and working. So if the magic pill would probably like help you be less stressed out and maybe take away some of the work.
It would write my book.
Right, but that's
maybe you just shouldn't work so much. I think maybe that's the thing.
No. So the magic pill, and this is a virtual pill. I know you have access to lots of pills. I'm just talking about a pretend pill now. Don't go digging. So you have this pill, and what you're doing essentially, because it's all a mind thing, you're questioning in your mind. What you're doing essentially is, what would this pill do if I took it to help me feel better? That's really what you're doing.
Everything's going to be okay. That's what it would tell me.
But what would it do? What would it do for you? Would it grow your hair longer? Would it make the sun come out?
I think it would give me peace of mind in the eye of the storm.
Right. And how would that be presented to you? Would someone come in and say, Michael, I'm going to take over your job? You know, think of something very specific. The pill.
Tangible.
Yeah, like physically. Yes. Experience or what would happen to you physically.
Because I know what the outcome you want. I know that's the outcome, but that's where you skip over what this magic pill would do. Magically delicious.
Yeah, I'm overwhelmed. Like, it's work at the pharmacy, then promoting it on Twitter, and then I got to think about my book, and then Daria wants to go traveling, and
that's good. So now you want to feel better. So you have this pill. What's this pill going to do to help you feel better in that moment? You're overwhelmed. You got all this stuff going on.
I guess boundaries okay, I'm going to devote this stuff to work, to my book, but beyond that, I'm not going to go overboard. I still got to take care of myself.
You haven't visited this before. I could tell because this was like, I'm overwhelmed. All I want is peace. You skipped the entire center of what do I really want to squash this feeling I'm having, or at least make me feel better. Because we're always going to have work. We're always going to have problems. We're going to have challenges. And we all want peace. We all want that, the end of the road, problem-free life. Yes, but we're never going to get it. So how about this? What do I want in this moment? Just like I was driving, I felt sad. What do I want in this moment? I think, and I go, I want sleep. Wow, my sadness just disappeared, because you know why it disappears when you actually think about what you want is because you try it on. You try it on in your head. You go, oh, what would it be like to have and honor my personal boundaries? Wow, that would feel pretty damn good. Wow. And then you start creating resources in your mind of how you could find a solution. Because the solution doesn't come until you think about what you need right now. Does that make sense?
The tangible thing.
Yeah. It can't just be, I just need peace. It needs to be, what would bring me peace? Well, peace on earth. No. What could happen if anything could come true? You know, my dad would say, hey, take the rest of the day off, son. Don't worry about a thing. Would that help? Oh my God. It might. I don't know. But you think of something that may probably never happen or may happen, but it doesn't matter. You think about it. So you try it on. When you try it on, your state has to change because you're trying it on. And if it's true, you feel better. I'm not saying this is the solution, but I'm saying once you feel better, you have less clouded judgments about what's going on, and you come up with more resources, more solutions, or a solution that you hadn't thought about before. Just when you said boundaries, it was like your wheels were turning, you know. That makes me think, if I were you, what could I do? What's one thing I could do to honor my boundaries, or whatever you're thinking about with your boundaries? So that's where I'm going with that.
Got it. Got it.
I like that.
I feel bad. I think you should go to bed.
I told you I would go to bed an hour ago, but you know, when I get on a roll, I knew this would happen. It's fine. It's fine.
But it makes a lot of sense though, because really you don't have to, like, the natural situation that should be is like when we're at peace and just comfortable and like happy. And so if you feel like at the pharmacy or with me or anywhere, if you feel uncomfortable or unhappy, it means something is out of balance. So I think it would really like help, as Paul is saying, I guess, to think like, oh, what, like the magic pill, or just to think like, to imagine in your head, like what would have to happen and so that I feel at peace now, like what would help, like I don't know.
I think in the pharmacy, let's give an example. I'm just like, okay, there's all this work coming on, but I can only do what I can do. And as long as I give my 100%, I'm not going to, and even though I need to get A, B, C, D done, and if I don't get D done, I did my 100%. I'm not going to kill myself for it. I'm not going to give myself stress. Did I get that right?
Yes, I was on mute. Sorry.
Okay.
I have to mute every now and then because the heater kicks on and it sounds like somebody's vacuuming in the background. So,
you have heater next to your legs. You know, it can leave like marks.
No, I don't have that one on.
Yeah, that Paul wears skirts, like, yeah, it's gonna be look really bad. No, but yeah, no, that's exactly true though. Like, for example, like, is that what would make you feel? So in that situation at the pharmacy, when you're unhappy because you have so many things going on, like, and you have to do A, B, C, D. But then, like, theoretically now, if you imagine that you would only do A and B, but you do it really like, you work hard, you do A and B, but then you have no more time or energy left for C and D. Like, so you would do things, like, you would do things as much as you can while respecting your personal boundaries, like emotionally and physically. So is that something that would help you? Not to overwhelm yourself?
Yeah.
Then maybe that's something.
I think you just need to take more cigarette breaks, my friend.
Okay.
You ever notice how many breaks cigarette smokers take?
Oh.
And you ever notice how calm they are? It's not just the nicotine. It's not just the drug. It's the fact that they
Are you
take.
voting cigarette smoking?
No. If I had my way, cigarettes wouldn't exist, but because I can't stand the smoke. But it's fine if you smoke. Just not near me. Just go over there. It's your space. Well, Daria, same with you. Is the magic pill analogy? I think you got it. I think that's a great way to figure out and create the resources you need, because that's what happens is when you do or whatever analogy you want to use. I use the magic pill because it's pretty easy. What will this do for me, and how will it make to make me feel better? When you use that analogy, it creates new neurological pathways in your brain that you've never visited before, giving you more resources from which to draw. And when you have more resources, then suddenly you're thinking a little bit more clearly, and suddenly life isn't so bad in that moment because you actually visited what could actually resolve the problem right then and there.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Yeah. I think we're at a good point, because you guys are now like wasted, or at least one of you is like, oh, I think I'm processing something.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much.
This episode ended up being longer than planned, so we're going to skip summarizing the points until next week, and then I'll play the conclusion of this session. Yes, it actually continued after we said goodbye, which was great, but there were some good talking points from this coaching session that I'll put into the show next week. I look forward to discussing them with you then. So for now, let's end this episode so you can figure out where the last hour and 40 minutes of your life went. Hopefully, you learned something that you can take with you and make life better in some way. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Overwhelmed Brain. I thank Christina, Natasha, Jody, Wesley, Gretchen, Carlos, and Kathy for subscribing to the newsletter. I thank people on Twitter, Charles, Billy, Christopher, and Jade. People on Facebook, Barbara and Zendi and Frank. I think that's Frank. And on YouTube, thanks for subscribing to the channel, Melissa. And on Pinterest, Joan and The Life Teacher and Steve. And people who sent me direct messages, Lisa, and I think it's Taniqua. And thanks for commenting on the blog, Dan. I appreciate you all. Keep up with the show by heading over to theoverwhelmedbrain.com and sign up for your weekly personal growth message. Feel free to reach out to me through the contact link on that site as well. I want to thank the listeners who are using the Amazon link on the site to support the show. If you're going to shop at Amazon anyway, just use the link theoverwhelmedbrain.com/Amazon. If you find this show valuable to you, just say thank you by using the Amazon link before you make your next purchase from them. There's also an Amazon button that you can use on the front page of the website as well. Your shopping habits are making a difference, and they're going towards a good cause. You. If I didn't call your name in this episode, just know that I appreciate you and thank you for being there for me. Listening, learning, and growing. Now, if there's one thing I want you to take away from today's show, it's this. An argument is when you have a different opinion on something than the person you're arguing with. And because of that, you can either force your righteousness onto the other person, or you can both give a little and meet a little closer in the middle. In a relationship, it has to work this way. There has to be a little give, or at least a better understanding of each other's opinions. When there's give, the other person feels like you're trying to support them. When there's staunch opposition, there's only the need to be right no matter what the cost. And sometimes it's necessary to be right no matter what, but Remember, there are always consequences, usually in the form of hurt feelings. But what you'll find if you give, even just a little, is the other person typically starts to give too. It just takes one of you to take that step so that both of you can reach a more peaceful place. It may not happen, but if you always choose to just be right instead of trying to support or at least understand the other person's point of view, resentment will build, and soon those near to you won't want to be near you anymore. So do yourself a favor and step into your power. You can empower yourself when you empower others. And with empowerment comes the ability to be able to create the life you want. Now, when you do this, you'll discover what I already know to be true about you. That you are amazing. I can't believe you're still here. It's been 1 hour and 46 minutes. It's time to shut this off. Go find someone and help them become empowered.